Gangs of graffiti vandals in Sydney have taken their destruction to a whole new level and even crossed the ditch.
Blatant, brazen,
nice size panels to go,
and brash. Millions of dollars of damage.
I want them caught. I want them in jail. Vandals damaging public property.
Vandalism is costing Sydney trains $35 million a year. And
for would-be artists to work on.
Dangerous and illegal.
$11 million trying to get rid of graffiti.
It's the question, what is art and what's the difference between art and vandalism?
Oh, we got heaps to say.
Yeah, we got a lot to say about that.
Cool, my name is Charles. I am a full-time artist. I paint birds. Sure.
You don't just paint birds.
Oh, let's start again then. Hi, my name is Charles. I'm a full-time artist. Paint graffiti. Go by the graffiti artist named Fat One. Part of the TMD crew, but also we paint murals and we paint urban, contemporary, Māori art.
My name's Janine Williams. We are married with 4 children. Full-time artist, a graffiti background. I write Diva, TMD and SUG crew, and we work full-time now doing murals and also creative art activations with a whole bunch of different clients around New Zealand and the world.
Personally, I got into graffiti because I liked it. It looked cool. And when you're young, you want to be cool. Everything's about being cool. Everything's about identity. Everything's about some sort of esteem, you know, and some sort of establishment around your peers. And yeah, I got into graffiti because everyone else was kind of getting into it. And then I saw it, and then I said, I want to do that. It's kind of like fashion. You know, you see fashion. He's trendy, I want to be cool, he's cool, I'm going to dress like him. It's the same thing. And so I chose graffiti, chose tagging basically. Started off with tagging, and then you progress as you do more graffiti into pieces. But there's a lot of things going on in the background for a lot of young people who get into graffiti. For me, I wanted to have a sense of family, sense of connection, sense of love, you know, sense of belonging. And yeah, I found that in the graffiti community.
Mine's a little bit different. So I grew up in Otara. I loved calligraphy and fonts, and I'd never seen graffiti in my life. And then my dad passed away when I was 18, and I started hanging out on the streets. And one day in the city, I came across some writers who had a black book, and they had graffiti in it. And all I saw was letters. Like, that's all I saw. Like, so it was just another form of font lettering to me. So that interested me. They said I could paint it. So I said, okay, how? Use a spray can and we go into a tunnel. Okay. And from there I started doing graffiti and bombing, and you know, I didn't know that that's what you had to do. So being the only girl, or there was a couple of girls that were writing at the time, you just get pushed into everything because everyone else is doing it and learn pretty fast. So for me, graffiti, it was an art form straight away. It was never about, a little bit different. Like I didn't want to be cool, I didn't care. I just wanted to know what that art form was about. I think the biggest thing is, despite the illegal conversation is a lot of people think that because something sits in the illegal box that it's not art. And for us, we know that graffiti is an art form. Letter forms and the way your techniques and your colours, and it's a legitimate art form, whether that's illegal or not. So we do graffiti art in a legal space now, and I guess over the last 20 years or 20 plus years that we've been painting graffiti, society, I guess, accepts that it is an art form now a little bit more. So when we first started, you only did illegal graffiti. Now people pay you to do graffiti. So it's an interesting conversation.
Graffiti is a lot more religious than people realise. It's got more laws and rules and cans and can'ts. It's hard out, man. Yeah.
I mean, like Charles said, graffiti has a culture, and a lot of people don't, unless you're in the culture, you don't understand how graffiti writers think and how crews think and what you're trying to achieve. And people, you know, cities and councils and funders, you know, they sit over here in a space where there's no real understanding of the culture, and they're trying to wipe it out. And you got writers sitting on this side just wanting to get their name up and get fame, and they want Insta fame now, you know, and Insta fame's a whole new thing because there was no internet when we were doing graffiti. And so you don't get that by being a legal artist. And so I'm not sure that you can wipe graffiti out, illegal graffiti, but you could definitely provide more spaces for people to express that type of art form. People don't have that opportunity these days, so they're just gonna paint and get it out, you know, and yeah, so I think it'd be beneficial if there were more spaces, if it could help. Because a lot of people aren't like, I didn't really care about the illegal aspect of graffiti, but I knew that it was the culture, so I had to, like, okay, I better paint a train or else I'm gonna be a nobody. Like, different now.
What we've found doing our art form is you can be a really talented artist with no soul. You know what I mean? And there's many talented artists, musicians, painters, etc. But as soon as you hear someone who has soul, it takes it further, you know, way further. And so if you can establish your story, your soul, because your talent will always come, you will actually go further than you realize. And that's what's helped us, is we've added a lot more soul into our work, and it's become something that's really helped us go further in our practice. We do more than just paint art. We tell stories, we add more soul, and that's the difference. And I think as a young artist, find that story, find it, man. What is your story? Even in film, there needs to be a story. That storyline will kill it. Like any movie that has the epic storyline, they could have crappy, like, you know, production, but as soon as that story hits you, it's game over. So yeah.
And I say this with a really nice viewpoint of teaching, is break the rules. Like, because sometimes your creativity as an artist can be really contained in someone else's framework. And graffiti, I mean, being on the street and learning how to do graffiti, not because someone's teaching you a technique or you've done the workshop, because you have to, and you're using colors that don't go together on a color wheel, you know, like, you learn as you go, and you have to break the rules to find something that's really different. And I'm not saying break the rules like go and be illegal, I mean break the creative rules, the framework, because it's those little places where the genius sort of strokes of artistry come out. And we see that, like, heaps of our friends, like, they don't fit in anyone's boxes. Our kids don't fit in boxes, and it's real cool. Like, I think from an educational perspective, if teachers were to hear what we're saying, or I would say as a teacher or someone that would try to explain it to a student, is to find what they're really good at and natural at, and push all the framework apart and individualize how you draw that out of someone, because it's real tough to stand out now, you know. So I think, you know, celebrate what that looks like.
Rules.
Yeah, break the rules carefully, but in a creative way. Yeah.